Hello, my name is Nicolás Ordóñez, and I'm going to talk about the uncertainty reduction theory. Who are the authors and in what year was this theory established? This was established in 1975 by Charles Berger and Richard Calabrese. What does it tell us and what does it help explain us? Um, Basically, this theory states that the primal thing that we as human beings are looking for when we begin to communicate with a stranger is to reduce uncertainty about that person and meanwhile increase predictability about that person. This is accomplished along the communication and while we try to gather information and learn everything we can about the person we're talking to. We try to increase predictability about that person, and while we do this, we also reduce uncertainty and we reduce stress and anxiety. Doubts and uncertainty about that person can be noticed verbally or physically. Uncertainty can be behavioral or cognitive. Behavioral means that we are not familiarized or sure about the stranger's way of behaving, and cognitive is when we are not sure about the stranger's beliefs and his attitude. What is the main idea of this theory? Is that before or at the beginning of an interaction between two strangers, one may feel anxious or nervous, and there are reasons why we may feel this way. We have an anticipation that we may have another encounter in the future with this same person. Therefore, we want to leave a good impression about ourselves. The second reason is that if the person we're communicating with has or knows something that we may benefit from or that we want, such as a job offer or something that we want to buy or sell. And the third reason is that if that person is very different to us, or may appear too different to us, we may believe that that person is way too different that we may never be able to have a connection with him or her. However, there are three different ways or strategies that we may be able to use to reduce uncertainty of the stranger we are talking to. The first one is a passive way. It bases in observing the person or the person's behavior from a certain distance. We also may sort of investigate that person through social media like Facebook, Instagram, and that way we may know about that person without really interacting. The second way is being active, is when we ask to other people about them or learn about them through other people. And the third way is an interactive way, when the interaction is personal, when the actual communication takes place. When verbal communication or body expression are increasing, the uncertainty decreases. What is epistemology? It asks what the nature of knowledge is or how we may obtain knowledge of the world. The epistemology of the uncertainty reduction theory would be that we may obtain information or knowledge through communication and interaction with other people. So we can have new knowledge, whether about the person itself, as personal facts, as well as information about a particular topic that the person can provide us that we did not know before. What is ontology? It studies what exists and what is the product of our mind. The ontology of this theory would be that what is not true reality may be the prejudices or stereotypes we create about someone before we may have met them. As we do not know for sure what a person is like, we assume and believe things that are not necessarily true. Reality is the information we discover about a person once we have entered into a conversation with them and we can learn about it. And axiology is the branch of philosophy that studies the nature of values and ethics. Therefore, the axiology regarding this theory is that doubts that we have about a person because we do not know how or who he is, you should put aside and not criticize that person. If we have doubts about someone, we must reduce this uncertainty by approaching that person and start an interaction in a correct way, always with present values such as respect and honesty. An example I can think of is when I went to a university in USA. There are a lot of people from different countries. Therefore, their way of thinking, values, traditions, language, body language was very different to mine. There was a lot of uncertainty about them, and I am sure they had a lot about me too. I remember I started to know a guy named Muhammad, and he was born in the Middle East, and we were very curious about each other. Once we got to know each other, uncertainty decreased, and anxiety and stress also decreased. Thank you.